In the news this week, state governments reassured juvenile correctional facilities are well run.
Renewed calls to increase youth allowance as the cost of living continues to rise.
Political experts weigh in on the Super Saturday by-election results.
Plus, a new discovery of water on Mars's South Pole.
This is the Evening News.
Good evening. Following the worst mass breakout in WA where 10 prisoners escaped from the Greenock Regional Prison, questions have been raised about whether there is adequate staff to run the juvenile correctional facility in Banksia Hill. The government reassured the facility is well managed. Nelson Liu reports.
It's the worst mass breakout in WA history. 10 inmates escaping from Greenock Regional Prison near Geraldton after riots on Tuesday, all of them recaptured 2 days later.
Is an incredibly stupid and reckless thing that they did. They have now subjected themselves to years of extra prison time as a consequence of this.
The breakout has raised concerns of adequate resources for juvenile prisons since a review of riots at Banksia Hill Detention Centre in 2013 revealed poor management of its redevelopment. But the state government says that's not an issue.
We have a new regime in place out there at Banksia Hill. It's working. We've got it stabilised.
The opposition says the state government's budget cuts is to blame for the breakout, and they warn it will happen again if it's not properly addressed.
This government has stripped funding, cut funding from the prison budget, cut staff, and these types of things will happen again if they don't correct that.
The government has denied the claims blaming the riots on the prisoners and have rejected calls for Mr Logan to resign. An inquiry into the cause could take months, but the opposition wants a full independent review so findings can be made public. Nelson Liu, WAMN News.
With the cost of living rising, many young Australians are struggling to survive on a day-to-day basis. Social welfare groups are urging the federal government to increase the youth allowance in order to help young people to live independently. Anton Lamakia has more.
Many young Australians on youth allowance are struggling financially week to week. Youth Future's WA Chief Executive Mark Waite said the allowance is simply not enough. 16 to 21-year-olds currently receive only $46.50 per week, a mere $6.65 per day.
The young people struggle to survive on it. It's not enough. There's a huge difference between the cost of living and what young people receive.
Mr Waite said welfare recipients are often perceived as lazy and not wanting to engage in work.
The government's got to try and spend its money wisely. There is always that assumption that those people that are on welfare are just lazy. I mean, we still have that view amongst a lot of people within society that people on welfare are just lazy, they could go out and get a job, when the reality is very different. The unemployment rate for young people is extremely high.
With the WA's unemployment rate sky high, younger people who don't have the required skills will find it hard to secure employment. Experts say if the youth allowance was increased, it may provide them with a better advantage.
We created conditions under which it's almost impossible for young people to buy homes. It's impossible for anyone out of work to not have to live with their parents. Increasing the youth allowance and allowing a little bit more freedom, I just think that's so much a powerful thing for younger people and something we really should be trying to do.
Anton Lamakia, WAMN News.
The results of the federal by-election are in, with Labor continuing their reign on the seat of Perth and Fremantle. This vote is seen as the major test for opposition leader Bill Shorten, 1 year before the upcoming federal election in 2019. Despite there are many independent candidates trying their luck, experts said the results are not a surprise.
It was, for most part, something that we were expecting to happen. The numbers, I guess the Greens vote is perhaps a little bit concerning in this context because, I was hoping the Greens might have put up a much better show here. They have the potential to win Perth and Fremantle, and the question is when are they going to position themselves to be able to win, either of those seats, and I don't think they're that close.
Channel 9 will merge with Fairfax Media in a multi-billion-dollar shake-up of the media industry. The $4.2 billion deal will bring together free-to-air television, Fairfax newspapers, property listing website domain, subscription video services and radio into a new company called Nine. It is expected to deliver multi-dimensional media content, but experts say the merge is concerning for the industry as it reduces diversity.
You think that we're carrying along just fine, and it's okay, I'll still know about the Kardashians tomorrow. But what happens is that gradually, bit by bit, what we find out about, how much about what the government's up to, we learn about, reduces. it reduces with every loss of media freedom and diversity.
Embattled Perth Lord Mayor Lisa Scafidi has been vindicated over the ongoing gifts and travel saga, with a suspension instead of disqualification from office. The State Administrative Tribunal has upheld the decision to suspend Mrs. Scafidi for 7 months from Friday, which will be served alongside the suspension of City of Perth councillors. The state government is considering whether it will appeal the decision.
I would have thought a 7-month suspension or disqualification was a pretty serious consequence, but we'll take legal advice on whether or not we should appeal that outcome.
It shows the importance of an independent process to hand out those types of suspensions and investigate that issue thoroughly. I think it calls the importance of the independent bodies like the SAT to do that.
Australian government officials believe US President Donald Trump is preparing to bomb Iran's nuclear facilities while tensions flare with Iranian President Hassan Rouhani. Australian defence facilities and British intelligence agencies are expected to assist in identifying targets, but security experts commented there are differences between providing intelligence and active targeting. Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg has lost a staggering $160 billion as shares plummeted during a record one-day loss. The 19% drop comes after Facebook revealed 3 million European users deleted their accounts in consequence of the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Zuckerberg also saw his net worth fall by roughly $21 billion as a result.
And finally this week, NASA has revealed new findings on Mars suggesting liquid water may be sitting under a layer of ice in the South Pole. The reading showed a bright spot below the surface of the ice cap and is interpreted as liquid water. Imperative to life in the universe, the water findings are beneficial to NASA's Mars program and can hold the potential to support life.
And that's our weekly news and current affairs. For all the latest happenings, you can visit our website and Facebook page.
From Taylor, myself and the rest of the team until 8 o'clock next Sunday, a very good evening to you.
Good night.